All right, today joining me is Scott Endle and Ed Bartel. We pulled them out of retirement for the big interview. Had to get them on Talking Fitchburg, and we're talking about the McGaw Master Plan. Scott, first time on the show. Same with you, Ed. Thank you guys for coming in and joining us.
You're welcome.
We've had the pleasure of having Tony King on, and he keeps pushing our buttons every single time he's on. So hopefully you're a little bit more reserved than.
I'll try to be my most reserved.
We'll hold him down if we have to.
We can do that.
Get a little bit worked up.
All right, so we've been promoting this meeting for weeks on end, and we're excited that it's finally happening tonight. So so set us up. What are we in store for tonight?
Well, what it is, Jeremy, it's basically in January. Or I believe it was in January or February of 2012. The Common Council approved a McGaw Park master plan, which is really our planning tool that we utilize to do any future planning within a facility. And part of a component of that master plan was a woods management plan. And if you're familiar with McGaw Park, it's about 65 acres in size, with half of it being the softball diamonds and the active kind of areas and the shelters, and then the balance is to some degree a natural area. So what we're really trying to do, and it was included in the plan, was some objective information about that natural resources area. So what we're continuing to do is our work with that in finding out some prescriptions on what we might be able to do to try and improve that area so it becomes a more healthy and beneficial natural resource to the community and to the wildlife and those kinds of things. And really, I would want to recognize Ed as the retired forester naturalist. This is really a spin-off of the work that he has done within the urban forest, and we have a lot of woodlots. And it's now to the point of trying to create an actual master plan or management plan for one of these woodlots, and it's really going to be a catalyst for the half a dozen or so woodlots that we do have within the park system. So,
well, we have had some success at Nobel Woods. We created a forest management plan for that about 10 years ago, and we've been working that plan ever since, mostly with volunteers. So that's one of our most successful first tries at attempts at forest restoration or forest management.
So what goes into a forest management plan? I guess break it down for a guy like me who has no clue whatsoever.
Well, generally the first thing we do is find out what's there. So we'll have a vegetation survey done, and we'll have a tree inventory done, so we know what we're dealing with. And then once we know that, we break that area down into stands. So depending on what kinds of vegetation, what kinds of trees are there, you might segregate the whole area into separate stands, and then you determine what would be the best management plan for that stand, and you come up with prescriptions. And a prescription is just a way of coming up with a management plan that you implement to meet the goals of whatever goals you set for that stand or that entire park.
And really that's where we're at this point, where we've got the background information.
Identified it. You've kind of got your stands picked. You've got those pieces in place.
We've got the basic inventory, the objective information for the area. And actually within the McGaw Park master plan, there's some goals and objectives that have been identified in regards to the natural resources. So what we're trying to do is implement those goals and objectives through this work.
Right.
So it's really, and what we'll do now is we'll have a public process, which tonight that's our opportunity for the community to kind of give us their thoughts and their ideas on what they would like to see there. And actually, the McGaw Park plan steers us in a direction, and it gave us some information in regards to what generally the community would like to see there. So now we're really just going to that next step and kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty, if you would.
Also included in this plan, though, is S. Johnson Park. which is the park just to the southwest of McGaw Park. And then we also have, is it 11 acres of the,
Well, it's 5 acres.
five additional acres that we
to the northeast
were just
through parkland dedication.
dedicated as
okay.
parkland. And so all of that has been included in this analysis. And now that we have our baseline of information, we can take the next step to decide how we want to, what are the best ways to deal with it. And included in that is the recreational component, the path, is the fitness component as well. So we're looking at all of that to determine what does the community want, and then what should we be managing for as far as the natural resource is concerned. Along with the tree and vegetation inventory, we're also doing a wildlife inventory. So we'll know what wildlife we're currently using, and that'll give us some idea of, are there some improvements we can make to include more wildlife.
And actually, Kevin Short, who is a UW-Madison landscape architect student, he is actually utilizing this project as a capstone for his work at school. And what he has done is he's collected all the objective information and data, and will be presenting that so that everyone can kind of have an informed decision on what is actually there and what are some of the things that we would like to do.
I think one of the most important components of this is we hired an outside contractor, Adaptive Restoration. Mike Healy's group did a lot of the data gathering, and they're doing a lot of the analysis. And so they'll play a big role in developing the plan and helping us implement it as well.
And maybe just a spin-off on the implementation. It's going to be a long-range implementation plan, just not only because of resources, but also impact on the neighbors, the direct neighbors. They're going to be concerns about what is going to be the impact of this. So the management implementation plan is going to be on resources, because we don't want to go in there and do something that we can't maintain in the future, but we also don't want to do something that's going to drastically change what McGaw natural area looks like, and so the neighbors can be comfortable with what we have.
Awesome. Well, that's a pretty dang good overview, guys.
Well,
you did a good job.
Well, and we appreciate it, and again, it's we're going to provide the objective information, and it's all just a continuation of the planning process, and the community and the Park Commission will really at some point decide what they would like to do, and then we'll go back and have a public hearing and all of those kinds of things, and then the council will adopt it. And what's really good about that, too, is that there hopefully is a funding mechanism that's tied to the adoption of the management plan, which is an implementation plan. So we can all...
So this is the beginning to a long, thorough process. And it's already been going on for quite a while.
It
so
has.
it's just...
And we will involve the Tree Advisory Committee as well, once we have all of the information gathered, before we take it to the Park Commission, the Tree Advisory Committee will advise us as the citizen body on, how we should handle these things, advise us on what they think are the results of the study that we do then.
And again, it's the basic methodology of a park planning process, and you get the community involved, and we have professionals come in and give us their thoughts and ideas, and hopefully come up with something that's vetted through the community, and people are okay with it. And again, we're
got to start somewhere.
Well, and we're trying to diverse our system, our park system. There's a lot of different users and those kinds of things. So.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. That meeting's tonight, kicks off at 6:30, presentation at 7.
Correct.
And we'll be out there to cover it as well. So if you can't make it, you'll see the highlights right here on this show on Friday morning. So, all right, stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's Talking Fitchburg.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks.